Good morning. It's Wednesday Wisdom, and it's a beautiful, beautiful day. And I'm here with Katie Saint Clair. I'm so excited to hear all about this because we all need more love hugs, right?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Katie, where are you located in the world?
Far North Queensland. I'm in Townsville.
Okay. So, I used to live up in Cairns and Atherton Tablelands.
Oh, beautiful part of the world.
Very yeah. 17 years up that way. And so now I'm down in Shell Harbour and, freezing my butt off. So.
Well, I was just in Canberra for 4 months with the activist movement down there. And, I snuck away to the coast in Wollongong, and Shell Harbour is a very nice part of the world.
It is, yeah, beautiful sunrises. I don't know if you know about the planet alignment.
Yes,
that's right. I literally go outside my front door and just look up, and one of them's still there. So early in the morning, beautiful, bright, planet there right by its side. But it was all four of them were just in a line right out my front door. So
nice.
It was gorgeous. So we're talking about love hugs. What is it that you do that this topic came up?
Well, I have a long history of energy therapy. That's what I'm trained in. But metaphysics has been a passion for so long, since probably when I was 12. Always knew that we sort of had this energy that we could heal ourselves if we got our thought patterns and our emotions right. And then when the pandemic hit, and I realised that we were maybe missing out on a lot of this hugging and touch and things. And then I started to look at it a bit more deeply, because I'd sort of been across the world events for probably 40 years. I felt there was something missing for us as people. And it became very obvious to me that the way we were connecting in terms of handshakes and hugs, we were actually maybe being inverted by the forces that aren't good for us. Because when you look at the actual physical structures of when we do a hug, we step in mainly to the right. So we go right hand to right hand, right shoulder to right shoulder. However, what we're engaging then in our electromagnetic fields around our body is the liver organ, because that's sort of where we come closest into. Yeah. Which is all the detox organ for us.
Yeah.
From the emotional state too, it holds all anger and frustration. So knowing what I know about transferring energy and energy fields within each other, I thought there was something really wrong there. So I looked at it a bit further and did a bit more research and thought, you know what, maybe we can be coming back to heart, and that's where we should be. And maybe that was taken away from us. So the more I did research on it, I found there was agnostic feminine shamanism people 30,000 years ago that all led from the left hand and the left side of the body. So
wow.
Yeah, it's really crazy that they had, and it was linked directly to our wombs, which is another interesting side part to what
something just shifted in me as you said that. Yeah.
Because they believed, these ancient Gnostic shamans, which were all females, of course, felt that the birth from the womb was our cosmic moment physically, and our death from the womb was the cosmic moment in the etherics. And we had to keep connecting back into this place of where we can heal what's happened from birth to death in our lives, in the womb, because that's where most of our trauma is being held. And this left side of the body being closer to the heart line, that's why we have the wedding ring on that finger, that's the heart line, that it became a healing for us.
Wow.
Yes.
It's very interesting, isn't it? The subtleties of separation.
Yeah, and look, this, 5,000 years of whatever patriarchal domination from the away from the feminine has just compounded it. You know, we've got the guilt and everything else. So I started playing around with it, and I'm quite active in the spiritual world up here in Townsville. And I just put it to a few people. Let's see how this goes. You know, let's go heart to heart. It just makes sense, because then you go to Heart Math Institute research and plenty there about what really happens. You know, this communication from the heart to the brain back in there. And then when we get
and do you mind just for those that don't know, I've done a little bit on the Heart Math Institute, but for those that don't know, they've discovered that there's the same cells, like the same sort of neural pathways, and that the heart has its own mind, right?
Exactly. 3 minds: brain, heart, and gut.
A gut.
Yeah. Yet when they measured it scientifically through the frequencies and the electromagnetics, the heart is the strongest by 5,000%. And
wow.
it actually sends more information to the brain than the brain sends back to the heart. So it's the determiner of a lot of what we feel and how we react, and because it's processing at such a bigger rate than what our actual brain is. And so really the heart is the governing of the whole of the body.
That governing body, yeah.
Exactly. So it, became obvious that the more we connected in the field of hearts, and from the research, we were going to send this ripple out there that's life-changing. So for the last 6 months or so, probably 8 months, I have people here in Townsville. I have took it down to Canberra, and the freedom movement just all adopted it. Because as soon as I explained we were being inverted here with the right to right, and we needed to come back to left, the comments and the replays back from people was, oh my God, I never used to hug, I never used to smile, and now I do it all.
Wow.
It changed me about what I'm doing. I've had therapists say to me, it's actually breaking women down to rise again. They're actually finding their vulnerability through it.
Wow.
So it's been a really interesting journey for me to hear all this feedback. And for me, this whole war we're in is spiritual.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
The energy of what we're doing. And so it's love versus fear or evil.
Yeah.
So it makes sense when we start to engage the heart in such the most simplest of practices with people, with each other, that we can start this changing of the etheric energy that floats out, and that becomes life-changing.
Yeah, and I've got to say, I'm sitting here listening to you, and my mind's quite strong, right? I'm one to analyse things, and I love looking at all these things, right? And I've had my times of people hugging me to the left, and it's so, like the first couple of times it's like, oh, what are you doing? Like there's this movement, there's this shift, Yeah. And I'm like, oh, it's just semantics, right? Like doesn't really matter, but, like, why are you making a big deal about it? But I watch that part of my mind when I've had people, like, so, you have people do it over after a while. I had someone do it to, hug me the other day to the left. And it's really interesting watching that aspect of your mind go, almost roll the eyes, right? But when you've just explained what it actually entails, that there's a physiological aspect to it, that there's a spiritual aspect to it, that this is a connection to our womb, that this is a connection to our hearts, and that the reason that the premise of going to the right is connecting to the liver, like my whole brain just shifted.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, my mind just went, holy crap.
Yeah.
Like, okay, and such the subtleties of these things that we don't take in, because we see them as, this is just the way it is, and like we don't acknowledge them on a conscious level, or an unconscious level either, you know. And so it just makes sense to shift into the left. And what a little way of being an activist. You know, just doing that, like,
exactly. It's crazy how it's shifting people really back into this heart-centered space, which is, you know, part of the shift of ages that we're going through with the going back to the age of Aquarius, which is all about peace and love.
Yeah.
But, you know, we're just in this murky place right at the moment.
Yeah.
However, a simple practice of that. So, you know, like with your kids, what it does, like, well, let's talk about oxytocin with it as the love hormone. And hugging is a great way to activate that. But, you know, the things that oxytocin can do for us, like I just wrote a few things about it. You know, it's the happy hormone. It's also a neurotransmitter, oxytocin, which is interesting because it's a hormone and a neurotransmitter, which means it gets into the blood and affects cells. So when you think about what they're actually doing and how on the back channels we're finding these clotting agents and things, it must be attacking the oxytocin because the oxygen can't get through them. So this is you're reading more and more reports of people being aggressive, and it's changing their personalities when they've had this experimental medicine. So, but what it works with, the oxytocin has this calming effect. So when you get into that heart space, you switch into parasympathetic straight up, okay? Which the other way, we're doing sympathetics.
Yeah, right.
So because this love is all governed with the automatic nervous system. And we do these things without thinking, like the breath with it. Then you put a breath on the end of that hug, you just watch people go, Phoom.
Well, even the whole aspect of where did I hear that just recently, you know, hugging for 20 seconds.
Yes.
Because the longer you hug, the more your parasympathetic relax, you know, like everything drops. I'm assuming the oxytocin sort of kicks in. You know, the body heals itself. The body moves into a space of, you know, relaxation and opens up your energy field, I'm assuming, you know, like just from the experience I've had. And then miracles happen, right? You've got, what a way to relieve stress.
Yeah. Well,
and anxiety. And
lowers stress, lowers anxiety, and it builds trust, which is an interesting thing because you allow yourself to be vulnerable in that spot because your hearts are healing each other. Because that's their job. You know, when we're in the electromagnetic field, it's all about us. And we get that connection and we build that trust. And what it does, oxytocin, one of the interesting things is it recognizes faces, and it interprets faces that can be harmful to you or not. And
is that oxytocin?
It releases when we're recognizing and doing perception.
Perceiving, yeah.
And it helps get rid of the cortisol.
Yeah.
And it also recognizes that that's a friendly face. And
right.
So you become, so you start to get that building the trust. It affects our mood, the oxytocin, because that's all on the physiological, chemical, because it's a hormone, physical and the physiological. It just all sort of fits in together. And the big thing is about the sexual arousal and orgasm with oxytocin. That's the big thing. Well,
so we've got oxytocin in there as well.
Oh, hell yeah. It's at that point of orgasm is when it really kicks in and takes over the body and puts you into that calm state and sends you into that place of love. Because it's that feeling you can have, you know? Because we're meant to have sex. That's the thing about
to relax the body and enjoy the experience.
And the touch, the physical touch, you know, of it all. Which is part of love hugs. We're doing touch for good, not touch for not good.
Yeah.
because we're engaging heart.
Yeah.
Connection.
It's interesting. I just went and had lunch with a friend or a woman that I can see, you know, we've got a connection, because I don't know many people down here.
Yeah.
And she's been having some challenges with her heart fluttering for about a week. And she said to me afterwards that since, like, having lunch, it stopped. Having lunch with me, it had stopped.
Yeah.
And it hasn't started again since. And, you know, I would say the calming effect of someone that's calm, and, you know, then the hugging experience, you know, like all of those things changes, you know, it's a mirror, isn't it? We mirror each other.
For sure. Yeah, it's an interesting, I love it because it's really simple.
Yes. Everyone can do it.
Look, you know, it says that it's one of the great things about the whole thing is that you can take it anywhere. It's portable. It doesn't upset the environment. You know, there's all these wonderful sustainable things.
Yeah, advantages. Yeah, absolutely.
And look, you think about it in your family. Like, we've just gone through the hardest times of our lives, really. You know, and I'm going to be quite frank here and say based on a lie, yet our children are growing up with fear. How do we...
Yeah, I know. Isn't it challenging? You know, what is this all doing to this next generation, right? Where they're in that, you know, one of the things that I do in my work is talk a lot about the subconscious patterns and, you know, our brainwave frequency between the ages of 0 and 3, and definitely up to 7, is in the same state as if we're being hypnotized. You know, it's the same. So no rational thinking, it's just all absorbing it. So,
exactly.
So if our kids are being conditioned not to hug, not to touch, to wear masks, you know, like we tend to not look at each other anymore. We're distracted by phones, you know, like that's scary stuff, right?
Well, and there's no coincidence about the social distancing thing. They made sure it was far enough from Hartfields. Start breaking that, and, you know, circuit breaking the energy that's part of this matrix. And this is just one practice that is so simple and easy, and we can get it done. I don't know how many times in a day, and you're helping your body, and you're also raising your consciousness.
Yes,
that's the beauty of this. Because when you start to keep taking those breaths with it, and you engage with that person, it's filling your cup, so your consciousness is becoming bigger and brighter. And,
yes,
you know, that's part of this spiritual war. I see this as one of the most simple practices to change the energy of what we've got in the world.
Yeah, and, absolutely, yeah.
And the more
let's hug.
Get involved. Yeah, let's hug it out.
Yeah, absolutely. So left side, 20 seconds.
Yep. Then a deep breath.
Deep breath. Yeah.
And that's it. And what we've got to get used to is, remember, lift your left arm to step in. We're used to lift this right arm. And when we think about, you know, back to school days, I don't know about, I remember we had left-handed people in it, and they got bashed, really, because they were left-handed. Because why do they want them on the right hand writing? Left brain. The energy goes left brain.
Yeah, logical thinking,
We start engaging this old ancient way of coming left. We're going to keep starting engaging the creative, the imagination side of our brain, the right side. And that's how we get out of this control matrix that we're under.
And we can all do it. That's what's so beautiful about it, right?
Exactly.
Not only can we all do it, but we all actually benefit from it. So the person in front of you is benefiting, but you're benefiting as well. So
and that's why we call it a +1 people movement, because you be one, you be a love hugger, and you reach one. And then you ask them to reach it out. So it's a big pay it forward movement. Really. Yeah, I love it. You know, and it costs us nothing, except I'd like you to buy my shirt so I can keep talking about it. And see, I don't see this being online. I'm really not doing a lot of online. It's like you saw me at the Mind, Body, Spirit. I know. I was, you know, people. Yes.
It's really interesting because when you got on, I was thinking, okay, often I don't know who I'm going to talk to. I meet someone and I go, oh, there's a woman of light. I'm gonna speak to her, and get wisdom interview and sometimes it's just online stuff. So when I jump on, I don't know who I'm going to talk to. And I've got to say that your face didn't look familiar until you started talking. And I'm like, oh, I remember hugging you at the Mind Body Spirit Festival. Yeah. And I remember the photos that you showed me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You showed me those beautiful photos of the past, present, future image that came up in the photo. So
yes.
Yeah. I've seen that in your Facebook. So
yeah, well, it's part of my cover photo, and because it shows where these timelines are all at, and we have this ability, because that whole story behind that was my girlfriend and I do community sound healings, and I give a talk and do exercises with them down near the ocean in Townsville. Anyway, our beautiful brothers and sisters over there were quite full of it and very loud and boisterous, and I could see the people that were coming to our group were getting a little bit afraid even, I could see that. And my girlfriend and I looked at each other, and I just sort of went in my head, I got to talk to them. So over I went and opened it with, hello, beautiful people, this is what we're doing. And this one lady jumped up and she just said to me, oh, is that when you're praying to saying the old fathers and all this, that? No, not quite. She said, and I said, look, no, we're just playing a bit of music, doing a bit of meditation. I speak a bit and that's it. And she just, can I come? And by the time that evening was over, instead of people all wanting to divide from each other.
Yep, separated, yeah.
We all came together.
Yeah.
Her gang quietened down for the whole hour and a half we were there. She sat through the meditation. She got up and danced. So as you can see where I'm dancing with her.
Yeah.
That's when I was totally in my heart, and that's where it shifted me, and that's what's shown in that photo. It's crazy.
Yeah.
The heart can just take you through timelines. That's that raising of the consciousness.
Yeah, actually, I've got to say, and I think I shared this with you at MBS, and I've never had anyone come on and talk about orbs and all that sort of stuff, but, orbs are something that I've known about for a long time. I've had photos with orbs, like coming down into my third eye and all of these, beautiful things and crop circles and all that sort of stuff. But dimensional, multi-dimensional shifting, and like I've had a big life. I know, like I've seen in, elders at Mount Hypipamy. I've spoken to elders in Mount Hypipamy and different places. I used to run Tableland Folk Festival Wellbeing Space.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah. So I used to sit and ask for permission for us healers to all sit together and speak to Doug. I don't know if you knew Doug. I'm just trying to think his last name. He's passed now. Beautiful man. Anyway, it's really interesting at MBS. You were one of two women that came up and showed me actual physical photos where the dimensions are actually coming out and being seen in the photos now.
Yes.
And so that was really interesting, because is there something in the vibration of our planet that's opening up to us being able to physically see it in 2D form like that? You know what I mean? Like,
I would really agree there is.
Yeah.
It's got to do with the Schumann resonance. So
people,
at least that's the Earth and its pulse. Traditionally and historically, it's been at 7 hertz, which is the measurement for it. And that's like this boom, boom, boom. Okay, so it's quite a slow, methodic pulse to the Earth, which is electronic, coming through.
Yeah.
2012, when we passed our son went through the Milky Way, and we went out from what I call the little playground to the big kids' playground, which is why we're finding all these extra nova stars out there, comets, the galaxy's expanding, because we're in a different galaxy now. And so what's happening is, with this ascension process, the Earth's going to do it anyway. The sky's been doing it, and we've got to catch up in between. Now, I've been doing this work for a long time, so I'm pretty open, and, and I feel, I spread a bit of love. That's what my job is here, I think, just even with the smiles all the time, just it changes people. Yeah. And so what it's doing now is opening these portals for us to see physically what's going on. Yeah. And the thing is, you've got to believe and be willing to trust.
Yes, absolutely.
Whatever comes our way, we're going to be okay. Because love always wins.
Absolutely. We know, as we know the destination, right? We're just on the ride. We're that's right. Seatbelt on, hands in the air.
And so, I'm inviting everybody that actually is seeing the other side of what's going on at the moment to be part of this, be part of the change. Gandhi talked about it. Lots of people have said it. Be the change. This is one practice. That's
absolutely
so simple
and so easy and so safe and so beneficial. Health, all those aspects. Yeah. Absolutely. I would like to invite all the women that are watching this episode to do a week of this at least. Yes. Do a week. You've got people that you can, even if you live by yourself, I'm sure that you can ask someone in your community if you can just give them a hug. Say, I saw this interview and it was really interesting and they said all this stuff and I just want to know if it's true or not. Do you mind if I hug you? Right? We have to hug on the left, maybe explain it to them, if that is what's going to work, but at least try it once or twice. But I'm inviting you to do a whole week of hugging to the left, 20 seconds, beautiful deep breath in.
Let us know the change. Rate yourself every day before you do it.
Put in the comments, come back and tell us. Katie, how do people get in contact with you? How do women get in contact with you, or men? Because sometimes this is you on YouTube.
On that point, the men have been fabulous. My men up here in Townsville, they all switched to that. And they don't, I challenge them on the handshake, but they're not quite onto that yet. However.
Handshake with the left.
It's all still activating.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Glad you mentioned it, yeah.
And really, the Scouts movement have it because they know it's closer to the heart when you're shaking left-handed. They're the squeakiest clean movement, but however, what they did do is this. So, I'm just on Facebook at Katie Saint Clair. And we are looking at a website, but it's more, for me, I want to push it as a person-to-person talk to someone. Even if they hug you first on the right side, what I say to them is, thanks for that hug, but can I show you a love hug now?
Yeah, I love it. Can I show you a love hug? Yeah.
And then they go, and you just go, I'm now, connecting to your heart. And there is not one person that doesn't go, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That feels good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
And that's all we ask is then you teach someone else. Plus one every day.
I'm in.
So we've got these beautiful T-shirts. I can't see. I've got this colour with the big love hugs on it. Yeah. And it's an interesting thing to walk around with because, even at the MBS, people, I'll give you a hug, and so it was a great invitation. They'd always hug me to the right. Let's go, well, now can I show you a left love hug?
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So you sell the T-shirts?
Yeah, and that's financing me because I want to travel this country.
Yeah.
Let's spread this message.
Okay. So if anyone wants to get in contact, they can go through your Facebook and get in contact with you that way.
Yes.
So can you actually put your link into the comments below?
I will.
And Katie, I'm getting more in practice of doing this. So I'm starting to ask, what is the best advice you've ever been given that really resonated?
Yeah, it's come from my mother, and she was a big one for this, and it's always actions speak louder than words.
Yeah.
And
actions speak louder than words. Yeah. Give a hug, right? It all relates. Yeah.
Give a love hug, because that action, and you don't know the ripple effect of what you're doing. However, we know quantum physics, we're all connected.
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't know if you've ever, David Hawkins.
Yeah.
David Hawkins says, like one person can affect thousands of people. I can't remember the measurement, but he measured it all. So,
well, heart maths say we activate hearts. It's 5,000%.
5,000%.
Than if we use the brain.
Yeah.
5,
wow.
1,000.
Yes.
Now that's scientific. That's not me just talking.
Yeah. Sounds beautiful. Thank you so much, Katie. It was a pleasure having you on. Yes, and it's funny because as we started getting into the other part, like there was parts there, I'm like, oh, that's right, we're online. Like I got to remember. So lovely to have you on, and definitely please put some comments in and share the value that you got out of this. Connecting with Katie, grab one of her shirts, so that we can support her to support this movement, and looking forward to seeing the ripple effect.
Yes, well, I'll be back in Canberra later in the year, and I often go across to Wollongong and Shell Harbour, so I'll look you up.
Absolutely. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.